Good morning, everyone. Let's do some prayers. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhur Bhavaswaha, Tatsavitra Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat, Astoma Satkamya. तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ओम सहनावतु सहना भुनक्तु सवीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति 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 Let's open our Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. In this Upanishad, especially in this section, Rishi Yagyavalkya, he wants all of us to identify ourselves with the pure consciousness that shines in all its original pristine glory in deep sleep, which we experience it every night. But then those rare, most fortunate souls, they identify themselves with their own Atma in the waking state also. Because that experience has to be taken into the waking state also. Because Atma is liberated every moment. Even here in this world, while remaining in this body. So this is what he wants us to experience. He says this is like a Brahmalok. Wherever you are, it becomes a Brahmalok, Atmalok, the world of the Atma, our own natural world. And this is the pinnacle of happiness, which is termed in Sanskrit as Anand, bliss. And last week we saw that how he told us that all other forms of pleasure and joy, which we experience through the senses and the mind, is just a fraction of that, a small fraction. Small fraction of even celestial heavens. Or even attaining the Brahmalok. See, there's a difference between Brahmalok and Brahmalok. So this bliss, which is infinite ocean, we can experience right here. And we'll see that in the next chapter also, or next section also, in the same chapter, the same subject is continued, even in more detail. So there are few verses left in this chapter. So let's look at those now. And we'll finish this chapter today. So we are on verse number 34. And this is a chapter number 4, section 3. And page number is 346 in our books. Sava esha etasminnah swapan antehe ratva charitvaha drishtev punyam cha papam cha punha pratinyayam prati yo anyeh dravatihi buddha antar eva. This same individual self, Sava esha, after rejoicing and wandering and merely seeing the results of good and evil in the dream state, hastens back in a reverse way just to its previous state, that is waking. So from the waking to the dream state to the deep sleep state, then it comes back again. This mantra is actually a repetition of the first part of the mantra 16 in this section. So Rishi Yagyavalkya is just recapitulating what he has said before. The state of transmigration into the next state. So he says that the Atma stays awake. It's only different experiences in the different states of consciousness. Then continuation of this in verse number 35. Tat yatha su sumahit utsarjadyat evam evayam shariratmaha pragyen atmanaha ev arud utsarjantihi yatra et udharvoho ushvasihi bhavatihi. Just as a cart fully loaded moves on creaking, even so does the self that is in the body, presided over by the Supreme Self, depart, groaning when it characteristically struggles for breath. So this is verse number 35. After the Jeev experiencing the objects of the dream world passes on to the waking world and again back to the dream world. So he makes his transition from one body to another. So that means a waking body to the dream body to the deep sleep body. So he's not talking about the physical body right now. He's talking about the subtle bodies. This transmigration of the self is full of misery. It is, he's giving the analogy of a heavily loaded cart. Especially in old times, those country carts drawn by bulls or the horses, when they move, they make creaky noises. Body is loaded with the results of past karmas. That is the baggage we are carrying. And at the time of death, it groans, gasps for breath, making sounds similar to that which is produced by the cart. If you have seen anybody dying, most of the people, they really gasp for the air, the breath. They make sound. So he is explaining the connection with the dream and the waking state. And this self really goes nowhere after death. Sometimes we wonder, where do we go? Mind is the one which goes. Mind takes the self. And this gross body is left behind. It seems like that it undergoes through a transmigratory existence. This transmigration existence is full of pain and helplessness. So that means when this subtle body leaves the physical body, it is painful. The gasping of the breath is indicative of those other miseries which a person goes through in this life. In this life, sometimes there's a happiness, sometimes there's a misery. Sometimes physical misery, sometimes financial miseries, sometimes relationship miseries. And we struggle through it. So these miseries have been mentioned over here. And he is taking our mind towards that we should be dispassionate towards it. We should look at that liberation. We should look at that ultimate bliss, which is our real nature. If we want to avoid the rebirth. Because every time we come back here in a physical body, no matter what kind of a physical body we come in, there are pains, physical pains, there are miseries. Sometimes we think, no, birds are flying happily everywhere. I'm sure they go through a lot of misery too. There's a misery in every birth, misery in every growth, and ultimate misery in the death also. So that's why he's giving us these examples over here, and he's taking our attention towards that ultimate liberation where there won't be any misery, only bliss, because we are one with that which we are. Let's look at verse number 36 also. Sa yatra ayamanya animanam naye itihi jaryaha वो पतः पतः वानिमानं निगच्छतिः तद्य अथ अग्रम वो धूम्रम व पिप्लम व बंधान प्रमुच्यते एवं एव अयं पुरुष एभ्यो अंगेभ्य संप्रमुच्यते पुनः प्रति अन्यायं प्रति अन्यो द्रवतिः प्राण अय एव. When this body grows thin, is worn out by old age or disease, then as a mango or a fig or a peepal fruit is separated from its stalk, so does this infinite entity completely separating itself from the parts of the body. Again hastens back in the same way as before to particular bodies for the special manifestation of the vital force. So this is verse number 36. He is explaining the manner of the usual leaving of the body through these illustrations. At first, the body becomes lean, grows weaker. We see that elderly people, how they become weak also, lean also. The muscle mass reduces. Sometimes it could be because of old age, or sometimes it could be because of the illness also. The separation of life or the subtle body is compared to a fruit freeing itself from its stalk when it ripens or withers. Having freed himself from all his limbs and completely separating himself from the physical sheath, the self identified with the astral body makes the departure from the present gross body. What is the astral body? That is a causal body. See, there's a physical body, subtle body, then causal body. That is also called the astral body. But then he comes back to life again in another individual body through the same route which he followed in the present previous births. This transmigration is not new. It's not new to us. We have taken births many, many times before. We come back again and again. That's why it's a cycle. We have undergone similar transmigrations in the past. So that's why this Rishi Yajnavalkya is saying that he follows the same way as he did while coming to the present existence. So just like we came here, this time around, we'll come back again. If we don't achieve that ultimate goal, it's almost like if somebody does not pass the class, we'll have to come back again to that classroom to go through those lessons again. So that's how we will get our future bodies, just like we have attained this present body. So that's why some people call this a school. In this school, either we pass and go to the higher grades, or we can just be done with it. Or we can come to the same grade, or even a lower grade also. That's how this school is. So let's look at verse number 37 also. So with these beautiful examples, he is taking our mind towards the reality of our life. Tat yatha rajahan madhya amugraha प्रत्यने सहा सूत ग्रामण्यो अन्नहि पानरेव सथै प्रतिकल्पयन्ते अयम अयाति अयम गच्छति इति एवं हि एवं इदं सर्वाणि भूतानि प्रतिकल्पते इदं ब्रह्म अयाति idam gachatihi iti. Just as the Ugras appointed to deal with different offenses, the Sutas and the village heads wait for a king who is coming with foods and drinks and residences ready, saying, here he comes, here he comes. Even so do all the elements wait for a person who knows the results of his actions, saying, here comes Brahm, here it comes. So over here, he's explaining how we attain another body. He's explaining it figuratively. He says, according to that person's work, knowledge, and subtle impressions, he attains another body. In that new body, which he has received, with the help of the 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, space, and also the presiding deities, the devatas also. Just like a king on tour in his kingdom, that's the example he's giving over here. When he's received by the policeman in charge of the local place, or other superior and subordinate officers, or the public who are waiting for that great leader, they'll bring food or drinks or a place for that person to stay. So he says that similarly, the conveniences and the articles are given to this newborn person. First, all the elements are there. The nature gives all those elements. That's how this body is made. Then the family, in the family where he has come or she has come, will receive the proper care, proper place, proper food. So this Rishi is saying they are waiting for that person's arrival. And whatever that person gets, it's according to the fruits of the past actions in the form of punya and apunya. We are very familiar with the different families. They treat their newborns differently. It's not by chance. In some places, yajnas are happening. Some places, the drinks are served. Some places, the sweets are distributed. But some places, cigars are distributed. So it depends where that baby has arrived. And it is all based upon the past karmas. Merits and demerits of ours decide our future. So the individual soul is in reality Brahma. No matter where that soul is. Even if a new baby is dropped in a dumpster, there is a Brahm in that baby also. But according to the past karmas, sometimes that kind of a heinous act is being done too. That's why this Rishi is addressing that Atma as Brahma. There are presiding deities in the body. Those devatas are there. The power to see is a devata, power to hear is a devata, power to touch is a devata. The power which makes us eat also is a devata. But then there is a Brahm in there too. So he wants us to recognize that Brahma with these beautiful mantras. Let's look at the last mantra also of this beautiful chapter. I mean, look at it, how much effort these rishis have put in for us to understand this life. Tad yatha rajanam paryehe asantam ugraha pratyene saha sut gramneho abhi samayanti evam ev atmanaham antkale sarve prana abhi samayanti yatra tadurvoho ushrasi bhavati iti tritiyam brahmanam. Just as the ugras appointed to deal with different offenses, the sutas and the village heads gather around a king who is about to depart, even so do all the organs gather round the self at the time of death, when it characteristically struggles for breath. Okay, so when it comes also and when it leaves also, he is explaining it to us what is happening. With these examples, as the officers and other servants gather around the king when he wishes to go on a tour in his kingdom. The same way the sense organs, speech, and the rest gather around the self at the time of death. Because they did their part while that person was living. Now the person is leaving, the soul is leaving, they gather at that same time too. Under the influence of his past actions, they accompany him to his new abode, the future body, to help him in experiencing that portion of the results of his past actions. And because of the past actions, we get either the sweet fruits or the sour fruits. Whenever those fruits become ripe, see, some fruits ripe right away. Some fruits take time. So that's why the result of these pleasurable and painful experiences, very hard for us to understand. Because every fruit does not ripe in the same duration. We are familiar with that. Every plant also. If you plant the grass seeds, the next day you can see the sprouting of the grass seeds. But if you plant a bamboo seed, it will take years. That's why bamboo can go high, so much higher and so much stronger. But the grass does not. We all know that. So every fruit has its own duration. The same way our karmas also. And we have done countless karmas, even in this lifetime also. We cannot count how many karmas we have done. Because sometimes we think karma is only done physically. No, every word we speak is a karma. Every thought we have is a karma. Sure, actions are karma too. This is a karma yoni. Over here, we have come here because of the past karmas, but at the same time, we are accumulating karmas for the future also. And not only that, we have the power to burn all the karmas too with our own tapasya and with our own sadhana. When this whole network of the karmas is burnt, we will see who we are. And that's what moksha is. And that's what our goal is. So with these beautiful examples, Rishi Yajnavalkya has really explained a very deep philosophy of this life to us. In this long chapter, we saw that some of the sections and the chapters are small, but this was rather long, 38 beautiful mantras. I would like you to go back and see what can you get out of it. Are you feeling more blissful? Are you dependent upon the bliss on the physical things? Or can you feel that nectar which is already there? Your own nectar? It's almost like a all the time flowing. It's a never-ending nectar. But we are trying to look for some kind of a short-lived happiness in these worldly things. So this is, with these mantras, that's what he's trying to take our attention to. So this ends this section. So next week we'll start the next section. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaye Purnameva Visheshyate Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much for joining.